Hey, Soul Warriors. Change and growth are the only constants in life. Yet, how often do we find ourselves holding on tight to our comfort zones? In this final video of our spiritual development series, we're exploring growth, not as something to control, but as a force to embrace. It is time to recognize that growth isn't optional, but how we experience it is. So let's start treating evolution as a rich part of our experience instead of something to fear and resist. Let's explore how to change with open arms and move through growth with much more ease. Growth is such a personal, private, unique experience. And I think that's one big miss in the spiritual realm of what's out on social media and whatnot is that, you do shadow work, you do this, you do that. That is how you heal. And it's not a one size fits all.
No.
And it's an in and out type of thing. And there's layers to this growth.
Absolutely. I mean, I think back at, my growth and how the process, the ability to be able to look at yourself in such an honest way, first of all, taking responsibility, doing the things that need to occur so that you can shift, the snot nose crying, the getting angry, the feeling betrayed, you name it, it all comes up because it is just like things that are festering inside of you. A lot of the times we just don't realize that is the narrative, until we start to do the work, and like all different kinds of emotions were popping up, and it was just like I felt like I was being bombarded by emotions.
Yeah.
It was really, really gnarly, if you will.
Right?
But when you get to the other side of that, I mean, there is just like, it feels like, the partings of the clouds, the sun is shining and everything is good again. The thing that I learned about my healing is that it gives room for the good shit to come through.
Yeah.
Because there is so much stuff bogged down. I mean, it's kind of like, if you have too much clutter in your house and you're not making space for the new, let's say, new furniture or new whatever, it's just going to look worse.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like that. When you clean your internal home, you can get new stuff.
Yeah. So you have 4 parts to your growth. The first one is mind. And as you were alluding to, the mind will fill in the blanks on all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So something happens, little trigger comes up, and then, hey, here's the mind filling in the betrayal and all the other little narratives playing, all the triggers bubbling. And then that kicks off the emotions, like you said. And you're like, oh, and you get tragic. And then what most people want to do is run from it, hide it, stuff it, get the fuck away from it because we don't like it.
I hated being this emotional.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm not one for being emotional. I was always accused of not showing enough emotions, so I wasn't much for being emotional. But when those emotions started coming through, I was just like, what the hell is happening? But then I got curious about all that stuff. Like, why am I this emotional? Why this particular emotion? Why did I decide that this was the right story versus the actual story? I started questioning a lot of the things and kind of like unraveling the story so that I can get to the actual facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's using like all the different things. So the mind makes the stories, the emotions start triggering up. It gets stored in the body, or it's triggering stuff that is stored in the body. And that's the beauty of it. Like it's a service to us, even though it doesn't feel like it when the mind is making these things up, because then it's triggering this old crap so it can get out of, the issues out of the tissues, as they say. So it can bubble up and present itself. And then you use the 4th piece, which is your spiritual tools of curiosity, of discernment, and of, becoming the observer. This is all about awareness. And when you're aware and observe yourself, that's growth. And that's beautiful. And it can suck in the moment. And then after, like you said, it's like, oh, the clouds have parted. And you're laughing at yourself because you're like, oh, my God, how tragic and ridiculous I could have gotten there.
Because it feels so tragic.
It does.
When you're going through it. So when at the end of it and, everything just feels lighter and, the possibilities are endless. Like so many different other emotions come up for you, and you just see the silver lining, if you will, of like, okay, I've come to the other side. This is the person I have shifted, grown into, and what do I do now? It's like, this is a freaking playground. I can do whatever the hell I want.
And to a lot of people, I mean, to all of us, it becomes scary as fuck because we just did all this work to get to this new frequency and came through all this crap, and we're like, oh, we're cruising along and it's nice, and now something's presenting, trying to get us off that frequency onto another one, higher or lower, depends on what's going on for you and how you approach it. So then you're like, scary again, holding on because I'm kind of nice here. I kind of like this. I'm comfortable here, and I don't know what's over there. But then, yeah, you tap into those spiritual tools and you're like, ooh, unlimited possibilities of the universe. Yeah, okay, playground. All right. That just sucked, but I'm in. I see it now. I get it.
Yeah. When you were talking, they put a pendulum in my thoughts. It's like, if you think of yourself as being a pendulum, yes, you're going to keep going, back and forth until you find that middle ground, and that's the sweet spot for you and for all of us, actually. But that's the message is that you will go to the back and forth into the story and into just to kind of get through the layers. We're a complicated breed.
We make it complicated. There's a lot of
layers for us. There's a lot of things because we add so much into things. We decide that this is who we are versus who we actually are. We decide that, oh, I don't have the power. When we do, we add way too much, way too much that isn't beneficial to us a lot of the times. So in the growth process, we get to discern all of that and really get to solidify the things that are working for us, the things that truly move our soul versus the things that have to do, that kind of thing. So it's like, it's worth it. But it can get complicated. But it's worth it.
It is. It is. For people who have been doing this a long time, there's always new levels. There's always new layers. There's always new discomforts. And that's just comes from, being a leader, from leading yourself into new territory that you've never charted before, to new dreams that you have, to new things that you want to experience. Like, this is all fresh and different frequency. And the thing is that the stuff that comes up, the stuff that like hurts us, the stuff that like has stayed stuck in our hearts or our minds, or stuck in the memory of our body, all that stuff, it can't move on until it's addressed. So as much as it sucks to address, that's why, spirit, universe, whatever, God keeps presenting you these things over and over again to address them. And sometimes it's just, why is this coming up again? And it's because you addressed a certain level and layer to wherever you were able to go in that point and period. Then there's an integration time. And then sometimes some of us are like, oh, I got through that layer. Now I can see all this other stuff. And you can unravel it really easy. Like when you pull a thread and it's kind of stuck, and then you pull like another thread and your whole sweater starts to unravel. Like after you get enough threads out that you've done enough of the harder work, it gets easier and easier. Not as less scary sometimes, but if you can start looking as scary as exciting. Like I used to be a roller coaster person, and I used to be like, going up that thing, I was like, oh my God, my scariness factor was slowly amping as I was going up that hill, and then going down, I'm like, this sucks, but this is so awesome and exciting. It's like exhilarating and scary at the same time. And you're okay. Most people come off roller coasters okay.
And taking a look at it doesn't mean it's just like, I see you.
It's not addressing it like, hi, pain.
Like, oh, okay, I see you. You're there, and then like brushing it on there. That's not taking care of business. That's like acknowledging that you have something to work on, and then you say, yeah, not right now. When you're in the growth process, it's about taking a look. It's about taking that rug and lifting it up and seeing what's underneath there. It's really taking off the blinders that we put on ourselves to be able to see ourselves in a very raw way, and being okay with that. And because the point of this is that you want to like who you see in the mirror. You know, are you that person that you're satisfied with? You know, at the end of the day, are you like, I did a fucking good job, I'm a good human? There's two parts to every story.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, take your responsibility in whatever story that is, and move from there, and really find the feeling, because your body knows. Find that feeling where you feel balanced, where you feel safe, where you feel seen, where you feel heard, so that you have all the ability and the tools to be able to keep moving forward into discovering all the other things.
And stop disguising safety as your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is not safety. Your comfort zone is some place that you've gotten used to hiding in. I want to give you a quick message before we get back to this episode. Unlock the secrets of your soul for free with Soul Notes. Say goodbye to feeling stuck and hello to the validation of your alignment. These weekly prompts are filled with reminders, gentle nudges, and sometimes a kick in the ass, all with love from your soul. Don't just take our word for it. Try Soul Notes for yourself and see the difference it can make in your life. Trust us, your soul and you will thank you. Just go to soulnote.org. That's SOULNOTE.org. Now back to our podcast. And if the stuff is swept under the rug and all you can do right now in addressing it is like, okay, pain, I see you. I acknowledge you. And then maybe the next time you can just leave the rug off and like, okay, pain, I see you. I acknowledge you. You can baby step into this stuff. But if you continually feel activated where you can't deal with it, this is where you get support. I mean, we had a thing that we went through yesterday with, shout out to Nick, with our amazing spiritual mentor. And it activated us both in different ways. I mean, she was talking about the snot nose crying and all the different feelings that were coming up. And mine was like, you know, being really present with it, but not taking it on, not attempting to fix it, not trying to people please through it, like all the things that used to be my default. And sometimes can't, you know, your default, it comes up.
Yeah, and for me, it was very emotional, like the snot nose crying and all that stuff. But also, while I was in the process, I was really conscious about listening to what you had to say, because when we're in that space, we get super defensive.
The story, just,
you know, it's like all of a sudden we're hearing something that isn't even said, you know, and reacting to it as if it was.
Yeah.
So in the midst of all my emotions, you know, I was really, really conscious and present and deliberate about listening to what she was telling me versus what I thought might have been said. So that's kind of like the tricky part, but that comes with being super aware of yourself. You know, when you've done that work of that self-awareness is so important here.
And self-awareness is really easy to tap into because it's simply observing. And you know damn well when you've handed those scissors off to run with to your ego, to your mind, or to your emotions. And they're just like, yeah, here we go. I'm making up the story. I'm feeling all over the place, even when it's super messy and it's not serving anyone. You know, I'm shoving things down into my body and just storing it in there because I don't want to deal with it up here. Like, we know when we do that. And we also know when we turn that driver's seat, that steering wheel over back to our soul. And that's the point here. You saw mind, emotions, whoever running with scissors, old triggers from body coming up, running with scissors. And you're like, ooh, soul, my fourth piece here. And this is why spirituality is so important. Whatever you believe in, whatever you anchors you into that faith and that trust and that belief in the unseen, that's where you start leaning. And that's when ease starts coming into play. Yeah. Not easy, but a lot more ease. That's when you're applying grace to what's going on for you.
Yeah, and also using your tools. Like you said earlier, you know, in the process of our growth, we gain so much knowledge, we gain so much wisdom, we gain so much tools that we can use. So when these moments come up of growth, of shifting, of transmuting, or whatever the case is, we have the ability to step back and say, okay, I'm going to handle this in such a way where I am right now as a person. Okay. I am balanced. I'm not letting all the scary things get in the way, and I'm going to handle it from that place. We start to use our tools. Being deliberate about everything that we do, that we say, how we act is so important as well, because again, that gives us the ability to pause. When we're uncomfortable, shoot, we don't like it. So we react to it. The question is, are you going to react to it in a positive way where the solution is going to come to you? Or are you going to react to it in a way that is going to just make matters worse? Nobody wants that. So it's a matter of really getting to that point of, this has been presented to me. I'm in the midst of my growth. I'm shifting, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm doing all the things that I need to do. This is really leaning into something that's making me uncomfortable. What tools do I have? And this can, again, this is simultaneous thinking. This happens quickly when you know yourself and you know you've been triggered, or you know something's happening within you. Right away, you can start leaning into all those tools and working from that place and asking yourself, okay, even if you have to physically say, I need a minute, do that so that you can handle the situation from a place that is authentic, and it's not going to send you off the deep end.
Right. And always remember, and I say this to myself, I mean, write this in your journal, slap it on a sticky note on your mirror, on your phone, or whatever. My discomfort is my opportunity. I'll say that again. My discomfort is my opportunity. So that if that's a narrative in your head, that can pop up in the background when all this other stuff is popping up. Okay, I'm uncomfortable. That means I can achieve another frequency. That means I can up level. That means I'm growing. And that's awesome, because we all want to evolve. We all want to get to that better place. We're always looking for whatever the grass is greener. That's your opportunity. Another thing I'm keep seeing in the vision in my head is, if you've ever gone bowling and the kids are bowling and they put those bumpers down in the gutters so that it's much easier to actually hit a pin. Your bumpers are your values. Your bumpers are the boundaries that you've placed for yourself. Your bumpers are your core essence energy. So when you use those as your guidelines, like, am I acting within my value system? Is this person crossing my boundary, or is it just pushing a boundary? And I just need to take a look at that. If you just use those to anchor you, and my core energy is like that straight down the middle towards that center pin. If you use those energy bumpers, you will hit a strike like 99% of the time. Yeah. And strikes can be messy. They can be pins slowly falling over, or pins like pinging back and hitting each other after you think that you got like some split or something. Like, it's dropping expectations, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to work out. Do you ever think like, oh, I'm going to get my first strike of my whole life and here it goes. And then that one pin is left standing and you're like, ugh, and you just turn around and you start walking away all pissy. And then everybody's cheering and you're like, what? And you turn around and that pin had fallen. When you weren't even looking, you weren't observing anymore, because you predetermined what the outcome was, instead of trusting and allowing that whatever was happening for your best good.
Yeah. And also know that growth happens with or without you. Mm-hmm. So it's better with, because then you're able to assess situations as they come up for you, versus it happening because, your higher self is demanding some sort of change, and it's going to make sure that it happens.
Right.
And that can be a little brutal. That can be, it can take you back a bit. And so you want to be able to grow with whatever it is that, spirit, higher self is looking to create in your life, is looking to align you with, because you also have to think about, what is it that you're asking for? That's all based on that. So growth can be so many different things. And it, like you said earlier, it's such a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
So just because Betty Sue is doing it this way doesn't mean that you have to.
Yep.
You know, the way I've experienced my growth doesn't mean that that's the way you're going to experience it. It's very, very personal. But the willingness to be able to look at yourself honestly, that's the key.
Right. And so this is you being your own guru. This is you leading yourself. And this is you getting people, like if you had us coach you, this is getting coaches to support you. This is getting friends or family or whoever you trust or a therapist to support you leading yourself. This is not giving your power away like, oh, Tara and Wolf seem to have their shit together and have things figured out and have been on a healing journey for a long time. So I'm going to give my power away to them. Because we've had people come to coaching sessions and they're all about, oh, my relationship or my job. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. So clearly it's discordant in their being. Clearly they don't like it anymore. So the higher self, universe, etc., the soul is like, here, opportunities, 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 discomfort, discomfort. And you're still complaining, sweeping it under the rug, putting your head in the sand and not making those changes. The discomfort's going to get bigger and bigger until it's just like, okay, like layer off, okay, like, girlfriend is moving to Europe and not taking you and you don't want to go there. Like, so big things will just start to happen because your soul has been asking for that. Even if your physical day-to-day presence is just, running around with the scissors, like, I don't like it. I want change, but I'm afraid to change. It's going to come in either way. So evolving with greater ease is the key. So whenever you're activated, you're reaching out for that support, you're anchoring back into your soul, handing the steering wheel to something higher than your physical day-to-day self. Mm-hmm. And just really looking at it as that opportunity. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity.
It really, really, really is.
So put the scissors in a safe place, please. Get out of the driver's seat, whichever you is commanding the room right now, and allow that soul to take the wheel and enjoy the fucking ride.
All right. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment if you like this video, and even if you have like suggestions, let us know what you want us to talk about and things like that. All right. Be kind. Peace.